I'm going to pitch these last two running backs. I grouped them together as well because while one of these is a rookie and the other one is technically a sophomore, they've kind of had a similar path this year in that both entered as backups to start the year, although one was in much more of an even timeshare than the other. And then eventually, whether it be by injury in one case, by trade in another case, these guys have ultimately usurped the role as lead runners. The other thing to note is that both of them are doing it in a very similar way. Both of them are doing it by being massively explosive, efficient rushers. Travis Etienne, one of the guys I'm talking about, is fourth in the NFL in rush yards over expectation per attempt. He is at 1.71 in that category. Kenneth Walker, the other one, 1.31 rush yards over expectation per attempt. That ranks sixth. Right in between them, of course, is Breece Hall. These are definitely players that have been really exciting new additions. We weren't sure that we were going to get these running backs that were going to fill in the void between these other exciting young running backs that came in and got injured. Both were bulletproof running backs, of course, in your process. If we look at PFF grades, Kenneth Walker has a sterling 82.4 rushing grade. Travis Etienne, even more sterling, truly incredible, 90.6 PFF rushing grade, among the highest in the National Football League. Which one do you prefer, and would you push either of these guys to the final round? I'm going to go get my computer charger while you answer this question, but go off, King.
Yeah, so it's pretty easily Travis Etienne for me. I think Kenneth Walker is exactly what we thought Kenneth Walker would be. He did great as bulletproof. Jacob and I had a great many debates around the merit of him being bulletproof despite having no receiving upside. I remember distinctly in the Discord saying Kenneth Walker's floor is like Nick Chubb. And Jacob took tremendous amount of offense to that statement simply because Nick Chubb is one of the best rushers in football. And I was like, well, that's kind of what Kenneth Walker projects as, is one of the best rushers in football. And here we are. Kenneth Walker is one of the best rushers in football. The problem, of course, is that we didn't think that he had we didn't think he had a receiving upside, and he still doesn't really have receiving upside. Maybe it works out, maybe it doesn't. The appealing part of the Kenneth Walker profile in the draft process was that he was priced as though he didn't have receiving upside. That never happens. It was a true anomaly. If you look at all the bulletproof running backs that were in the NFL draft over the last, I forget how many years I have, back to 2007. If you look at the average draft position, startup draft for those running backs that are bulletproof, they're almost always drafted in the top 41 QB picks, almost always. And a lot of them are drafted in the 20s or the teens. Kenneth Walker was going to 54. He was going well after. And now, the play was, in my opinion, you draft Kenneth Walker, you let him be awesome at rushing the ball. You let the masses get over their skis about, he could catch passes, or, it doesn't matter. Look at Rashad Penny's upside, which obviously is the same thing. We cannot bank on these long touchdowns on repeat, or we're basically looking at Nick Chubb, which is what my argument was from the start. Or Kenneth Walker is basically going to be Nick Chubb, and that, or he could be Derrick Henry, but that's pretty freaking rare. We've basically never seen a Derrick Henry before. We've seen a lot of guys that are very efficient rushing the ball that score back end running back one numbers. Kenneth Walker is probably going to continue doing that into the future. There's a chance he catches passes. There was always a chance he catches passes, but now the chance that he catches passes is not baked in. Now it's like a demand that he catches passes to pay off at RB1 overall. And I'm not willing to go.
And it's probably less likely now that he'll catch passes.
And it's less likely because
he's so far not done to it.
In the passing game. We've seen him not be Breece Hall.
Yeah, so, we had Kenneth Walker people on Twitter victory lapping that he caught 3 passes for 20 yards this week, which is a sign that you don't expect him to catch passes at all. If you're really excited about 3 receptions, then he's not going to. That brings him up to 1 reception per game in games that he's been the lead running back. We've talked Kenneth Walker to death. He's a really good bet. He's not in this category. He should be a tier below this category in terms of people competing for RB1 overall. But it is worth mentioning that when I tweeted out this tweet that I said, that is what I do with a tweet. I tweeted out and I said, is there any running back you give 2 1s for? By far the most commonly answered running back was Kenneth Walker, which is mesmerizing to me, but he is awesome. I will say, I still think it's being I'm going to sound like such a picky little bitch, but I still think it's slightly overextended how good Kenneth Walker is as a rusher. He's a really good rusher. The way people talk about him is as though he's in a completely different tier from any other young running back in the NFL as a rusher. And he's just not. There's just no data that would support that notion. Like I
No.
talked about, rush yards over expected per 10. He's at 1.31. That's really, really incredible. It's seventh in the NFL. If you look at running backs with at least 100 attempts or more, it's even better. Then that's third among running backs in the NFL. It's behind Nick Chubb and Travis Etienne only, which is really awesome. It's also like 0.02 above Jeff Wilson, right? So it's not like it's like completely out of this world. The other really interesting thing about Kenneth Walker is if you look at the percentage of rushes over expectation with at least 50 attempts, Kenneth Walker actually ranks 10th worst in that category in the NFL, right? Which is what I've said he is since college. He's a boom bust rusher. He dances too much in the backfield. Well, I should say he dances a lot in the backfield. Sometimes it's too much and he gets tackled for a loss. Other times he dances very effectively and that he creates opportunities for himself to rip off big plays. He's also an incredible tackle breaker and he's a really high-end explosive rusher. If you look in terms of PFF rushing grade, he's outside the top 15. He still has a really strong PFF rushing grade at 81, but he's not like in that elite tier. Travis Etienne has more rush yards expected per attempt. Travis Etienne has a better PFF rushing grade. Travis Etienne, by all accounts, this year has actually been the better pure rusher. And honestly, Travis Etienne's pass catching has been a disappointment this year. He's been only at a 9.5% target share. His targets per route run is 16%. That's below players like Najee Harris, players like Joe Mixon, who we think of as adequate, not elite pass catchers. And really, Travis Etienne, even in college, was a little bit less of a elite pass catching running back and more like an elite space running back who they would throw passes to get him in space. And that's what he's been in the NFL. I think with Etienne, what's been exciting is that I don't think it was at all baked into the idea of Travis Etienne that he would be an elite high volume pure rusher. Like I don't think that was people's expectations of him. But at this point, it would be really hard to look at what he's done and not say that we think that he is, or at the very least can plausibly be perceived of as an elite high volume pure rusher, because since James Robinson left town, 24 carries and 28 carries. Like that's 26 carries per game. That's a lot of carries. And he's continued to be super, super efficient on high volume. I do think that with Etienne, with his usage in all phases, with his elite rushing upside, and with at the very least, this can be Jonathan Taylor-esque adequate pass volume at only 23 years old in just his second season. To me, he's in that same conversation, right? Like, why do we love Jonathan Taylor? He's an elite pure rusher with adequate receiving ability. Travis Etienne thus far has been an elite pure rusher with adequate receiving ability. I think he should be in that conversation, and he's currently healthy. So to me, I think that like, yes, there's a sample size concern, but I don't think it's crazy to put Travis Etienne in the same conversation.
I'm gonna push back on the sample size concern because we also have 4 years of Etienne playing in college. Like we know he's good at football, and now he's in this role where we suspect that he will continue to be in this role, just like Jonathan Taylor. We suspect his role will grow now that Nyheim Hines is gone. We expect Travis Etienne's role will now maintain now that we've seen James Robinson be gone. Maybe not to the 24. He
probably won't average 25 per game,
but he's certainly going to be a workhorse running back from now going forward. I think that you make a great point, and I would like to now eliminate Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor from the conversation of RB1 overall. I think it's down to Travis Etienne and Christian McCaffrey.
Really? So you think Etienne is clearly in any league in a vacuum, you would be trading Breece Hall and Jonathan Taylor for Travis Etienne?
I think I would, because I don't really know why we wouldn't.
That's
I never
exciting.
really thought about it that way, but now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, what am I afraid of with Travis Etienne? He's in a young ascending offense. We know he's not going to be playing with what's the shitty quarterback in Indianapolis? Sam Ellinger.
Sam Ellinger.
We know he's not going to be playing in a Sam Ellinger offense.
It's like a Trevor Lawrence.
We know the Jaguars may have like a progressive front office. We don't know for sure, but they've been drafting pretty good players and they've been signing pretty good players. Yeah. And I think that
Doug Peterson has always been like a good coach. Like he's been a coach who gets it. Like he passes at the right times. He goes for it when he should go for it. Like
I think we know
he runs an effective offense.
At this point, we know definitively that the Colts offense and entire front office, team structure, everything is going the way of the Tennessee Titans. And we should not be overly excited about that. Whereas the Jaguars, I think, have a lot more potential to become the next great offense in the NFL.
And you
I
know
don't
what's
know if
great
they
about the
will.
Jaguars is they get to play the Colts 2 times per year and the Texans 2 times per year, and so and Travis Etienne gets to feast on these two ridiculous franchises 4 times per year.
So I'm taking Jonathan Taylor out of contention on my board.
Okay.
You can leave him wherever you want. I think if we were going to say in a vacuum who's the better player, Jonathan Taylor or Travis Etienne,
It's Jonathan Taylor.
Cards on Jonathan Taylor.
It's Jonathan Taylor. It is.
But
Jonathan
from a fantasy points scoring potential perspective, I think I'm going to go with Etienne.
There's some like level of lingering doubt that I have with Etienne, which is weird because I've been like the biggest Etienne fan of most people in fantasy Twitter. And I think that it's just like me being gaslighted by film bros for like multiple years. I think that's and I think I can't shake it. I think you have more confidence in your abilities to go beyond the film bros, but I think that the film bros have like sunk their hooks into me. And I really try to take in all that. Like I try to be the sword of Godric Gryffindor, right? I try to take in that which makes me stronger. I don't want to just dismiss people that have valid concerns. I am a little bit of a closet film bro. Like I watch the Etienne film. I see what they're seeing. I did a breakdown of one of his games in the patron Discord. I was like, these are some like really sloppy ass plays that he's making. And I guess my concern with Etienne is like, will this role stick? Like, will the team continue to allow a fairly mistake prone, if dynamic and elite player to take all of the work? Or am I going to be spending time waiting for like another shoe to drop? And I don't mean a shoe to drop in the sense he's going to get replaced or anything crazy like that, but just that he's not going to be like, here's your 80% snap share, Travis Etienne, for the rest of time, in the sense that like Jonathan Taylor, I think, is like such an unimpeachable talent that he would. I think that Breece Hall is such an unimpeachable talent that he would. Like, there's just some aspects of Etienne's game that are like, like it's just right? Like his hand positioning is terrible. Like he drops too many passes, and it's a legitimate issue. He also is a boom bust decision maker behind the line of scrimmage. Although so is Kenneth Walker, and everyone thinks that he's just got that dog in him, and that Etienne whatever. Barkley. It's so frustrating, and so is Saquon Barkley.
That was a criticism on Saquon Barkley when he came into the NFL.
Like the double standard between how people like. I honestly just don't understand why people are like when I watch Walker and when I watch Etienne, and when you see their stats, like, or when you watch them on film, at least when I do, I see similar things. I see like Walker spends too much time behind the line of scrimmage, which causes him to get tackled behind the line of scrimmage. And other times he finds open lanes and he creates massive runs. Etienne bounces everything outside too often. In this sense, where again, is it too often or is it not too often in the eye of the beholder? He bounces runs to the outside more often than they are designed to be. That means sometimes he creates 50-yard plays when other running backs would have created 8. And sometimes he takes a loss of 2 when he could have gotten 5 yards. Like that's just life with Travis Etienne. That's what he's going to do. And I guess what I would say is the positive is that Doug Peterson has shown with all of his actions so far that he's fine with that, right? Like that's like he said, like, okay, Travis Etienne, what you showed me is like, you're so good that we just want to develop you. Like, we're good with this. Like either he's saying we are so impressed with you as a talent that we want to continue to develop and refine the edges of your game by giving you a lot of opportunities, or we actually like this about you and we want you to have all these carries, right? Like they couldn't have showed more confidence in him. They increased his role and they traded James Robinson, and yeah, you've talked me into it. I think you've talked me into it. Like he should be valued ahead of Jonathan Taylor, and he has an ACL intact, so he should probably be ranked even with Breece Hall in a vacuum and probably ahead if you want to score points this year. So I'm with you. It's Etienne or McCaffrey.
Yeah, like I'm just looking at Travis Etienne's box score, and he's got 5 consecutive games with over 100 yards.
That's good. That's a lot of yards.
And James Robinson's only been gone for 2 of those games, so that's pretty wild.
Good. He's really good.
Yeah, and like I said, I think the offense is probably trending in the right direction, or at least I have confidence that they're not going to put Sam Ehlinger in. Like,
they're not.
That's a pretty low bar, but that's where we're at with the Colts now.
So I think this is where we're at then. I think in a vacuum, like in terms of the lowest common denominator, most applicable to the most number of teams, that Dynasty RB1 overall, non-Bijan Robinson category, is Travis Etienne. And if you are a contender, then the running back that you should most want to have is Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I think so. I can't believe we've gotten here. This isn't where I thought we were going at the start.
I didn't think we were going to get here either.
Thing. I was like,
that's why I wanted to do it this way, because I wanted to tease it out. I wanted to see how would we get there.
That's exciting.
I had a method to my madness.
let's go get some Travis Etienne, I guess.
I already have a lot. He's already my most rostered Dynasty running back. That's exciting. I roster a lot of the RB1 overall. That's pretty good.
Good for you. And furthermore,
and
I guess.
Hey, do you know who my second most rostered Dynasty running back is?
I hope it's Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, so qualifier, this is with a top 100 ADP. Like by most of the roster Dynasty running backs, like Jerick McKinnon or whatever, like people that are free off waivers. Like most roster Dynasty running backs, top 100 ADP, it's Travis Etienne. My second most is Christian McCaffrey.
Good for you.
Look at that.
You're doing a great job.
Look at that. We're doing good things.
I have no idea who my most rostered running backs are, and it's almost certainly not Travis Etienne because I wasn't picking him last year, 2 years ago, very often because I was pretty much.
I think you called him Ronald Jones.
He hit a Ronald Jonesy feel.
Would you say this is your last chance to buy low on Travis Etienne?
Well, here's the difference. Ronald Jones was a shitty prospect, and Travis Etienne was a good prospect, but he was like weirdly similar to Ronald Jones in a lot of like kind of alarming ways. And that this was like pre-combine, right? Like when we thought that Travis Etienne was this blazing speedster that was like 200 pounds, that was what we thought Ronald Jones was going to be, and they didn't catch passes. Except Travis Etienne actually did catch passes. He just nobody liked the way that he caught passes, similar to how they didn't like Ronald Jones caught passes.
That's true.
It was not a like let's not get carried away with Ronald Jones equals Travis.
Right. No, he caught a lot of passes. That's just that he was potentially fearful. He had to turn to analytics to catch passes because he was fearful.
He was afraid of catching passes.
Right. He turned to analytics. It's a good thing he didn't go to the Colts. Jim Irsay wouldn't want him. He's fearful. Yeah.
Anyways, I think that it's pretty exciting that Travis Etienne is now the Dynasty running back RB1. I double counted the RB there, and that's fine. And so who are you taking? Like in a startup draft, you're on the clock. Who are you taking? Christian McCaffrey or Travis Etienne? I kind of think I might be taking Etienne.
Well, I'm taking a quarterback or a tight end or a wide receiver.
No, this is in like round 2.
Yeah, so I'm taking a quarterback, wide receiver, or tight end, or I'm
No, this is like round 3.
So I'm taking a quarterback or wide receiver.
Round 7.
Okay, I'm taking Travis Etienne.
You're taking Travis Etienne over Christian McCaffrey in a startup draft.
So in a startup,
I think I am too.
In a startup for sure, because you know what? So I did some Christian McCaffrey startups this year where I took him in round 2, and I mean those teams are doing well. Like Christian McCaffrey's awesome. I don't love taking a prime age running back early in a startup based on how it forces you to draft the rest of your startup.
I was going to say, I feel like there's just so much less flexibility in the remainder of your strategy if you take Christian McCaffrey than if you just take Travis Etienne. So I'd probably just take Etienne to remain flexible and take advantage of where players are falling in the draft. Yeah,
like it's just you're so stuck because all of a sudden it's like, you have to construct your team in a certain way if a like top end running back is like one of your most invested in players, right? It just makes it difficult. Like I would always rather trade for Christian McCaffrey like later, and when it's like I already know what my team is, I know how it's set up. I know like I'd rather trade for a Christian McCaffrey, but I'd rather draft a Travis Etienne.
Yeah, Travis Etienne. Yeah, I think in a startup draft, it's pretty hands down Travis Etienne because if you draft Travis Etienne, you have the ability to win now or to like still do like a productive struggle.
Right.
You draft Christian McCaffrey, you're in win now mode, and there's no other alternative. And then you have so much less ability to maneuver in the draft because if you miss out on the quality veterans, you got Christian McCaffrey and you're just in a world of hurt. Now everybody knows you can't win because you didn't get the right veterans, and you have to sell this player at a discount, and that sucks. So just draft Travis Etienne. He's the running back 1 in Dynasty. You're welcome, everyone.
You're welcome.